the theme here seems to be your outer dress defines who you are, even for the reporter in this case. But now you did this as part of your investigation. I think I could be wrong, but I think you did this as part of your investigation of your book Young Money, which asked, among other things, why are young bankers so uniformly miserable? Was it in pursuit of that story that you crashed this party?
It was. In part, I wanted to find out sort of what happens to young bankers as they scale the ladder. Do they change? And to find that out, I had to figure out, what happens to the people at the top and how do they behave when the microphone's off and no one's, they think no one's looking. And so this was part of sort of me trying to figure out, what's the transformation that takes place between someone's first year on the job and then them becoming a CEO or a billionaire. And I was surprised. What surprised me is that when I told the 8 young bankers that I was following for this book, when I told them about the Kappa Beta Phi dinner, they thought it was just as ridiculous as I did. I mean, Wall Street is an enormously different place than it was even 5 or 10 years ago, and so the culture today is much less. It's much less debauched. It's much less tolerant of things like that, and so I think they were almost as embarrassed, on behalf of their industry as I was shocked.
That's very interesting, and that hasn't gotten played up, and the coverage this thing has gotten. So, what's the shift? Why are the young bankers? Is it that they grew up in a grimmer time? Is it that they have less bright prospects? Why are they not as debauchery inclined? And could that exchange? Could that change as they climb the ladder?
It certainly could change, but my strong suspicion is that the Wall Street will never go back to sort of its go-go Wolf of Wall Street, liar's poker days. I don't think that's in the cards, and part of the reason is systemic. These banks are smaller, they're better regulated than they used to be. There's obviously more work to be done, but we have a much stricter set of constraints on the industry now, so things will never be quite that ridiculous financially. But I also think that the crash sort of made young bankers especially sort of take a look at their place in the world. And I don't think, the people who are in the Kappa Beta Phi dinner, they might be okay with being hated and vilified. But young bankers, the ones that I talked to, I mean, they wanted finance to be a respectable profession again. They wanted to be able to tell people that they worked at Goldman Sachs when they, were in mixed company and not have to feel ashamed of it. So I think they want to take the steps that are necessary to bring Wall Street back from its sort of infamy.
Well, this is a fascinating story, and I'm looking forward to reading your book, Young Money, and I hope you'll stay on this beat at New York Magazine too.
Thanks a lot.
You bet. We've been speaking with Kevin Roose, whose new book is Young Money.